The Winter's Guile Warlock Exotic Gauntlets just got buffed in Destiny 2 Renegades, and this build will give you infinite melees with a 500% increase to the damage. This build is insane. So in this video, we're going to be going over the build, breaking down all the mods, the exotic, and of course, as always, there will be a dim link in the description so you guys can just copy and paste. This is a very good build, and it's definitely going to help you farm out those activities in the Lawless Frontier. Before we get into this, if you guys are looking to get your loved ones a gift this holiday season, I have got the Marasov Eyes Up Guardian t-shirt in my merch store right now. The link to this will be in the pinned comment down below and also in the description. Now, let's get into this.
Yo, it's time to subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. What are you doing?
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous.
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. Like the video, come on.
Hell
you know
yeah.
the drill.
Button.
And slap that like button.
So the main exotic for this build are the Winter's Guile Exotic Gauntlets. Comes with the exotic perk Warlord Sigil. Melee and finisher final blows increase melee damage. With maximum stacks, you gain vastly increased melee regeneration speed for a short time. As you guys saw in that opening clip, the recharge rate is basically instant as soon as you cast your melee. But to dive a bit deeper into what the Winter's Guile actually does now, in the patch notes it states, melee and finisher final blows grant bonus melee damage. Melee final blows grant 1 stack and finisher final blows grant 3 stacks. So as you can see here, we're going to throw 1 melee and boom, we get 1 stack of Warlord Sigil for about 4 seconds. And what's cool about this is it doesn't need to be a powered melee. You can just get a normal melee kill and you'll get that buff Warlord Sigil for the 3 to 4 seconds. And you can actually equip a glaive and just get a glaive hit, and that will also proc the Warlord Sigil perk. The patch notes go on to state that max is 10 stacks for a 400% increase to melee damage. So as you can see, we do 88 damage right there. Goes up to 147, 195, 234, 264, 306, 320, 333, and 341, and then 350 when you get Warlord's Fury. Patch notes also go on to state that the stacks are lost 1 at a time and last for 4.5 seconds. So I can see we're at Warlord Sigil times 7. Now we go down to 6. Go down to 5 every 4.5 seconds, and if we just get another melee kill, it will go back up. And the timer will refresh every time you get a kill. See, we're going to go down to 3, 2, 1 second. Now we're going to go back up to 7 and get that full 4.5 seconds. So it is pretty easy to keep this up and going at all times. So you got that melee buff. Then it says once you reach 10 stacks, immediately gain 1 melee charge and enter Warlord's Rage when you activate your melee ability. So right here, we're going to waste all of our melees. We have no more melees. We're going to get a kill. When we go to times 10, we immediately get that melee charge and we're in Warlord's Fury. We're going to activate it again. And as you can see, we get a super fast melee regen. We're already at 3. And when we are in that Warlord's Rage, that is when we get that 500% increase to damage. And we will keep that 500% for 10 seconds. Once the 10 seconds is up, we will lose all stacks and we'll have to start over. So do keep in mind, if you want to get that buff faster, finishers are actually going to give you 3 stacks. So right now we have no stacks of the Warlord Sigil. We get off a finisher. Automatically bumps us up to 3. That brings us to 6. Now we're at 9. We just need 1 more, and now we have Warlord's Fury ready, and we have that timer. Once the timer goes all the way down, it's just going to bring us back to times 10. We get another one. Warlord's Fury is ready, but if we don't use it, it's still just going to put us back to 10. We're not going to actually lose it all. So now that we know all the new things that the Winter's Guile does, let's start building around this. Now we are going to be on the Prismatic Warlock, and we are going to be taking the Song of Flame. While your Song of Flame is active, you and nearby allies regenerate abilities more quickly, and you gain a huge damage resistance to incoming damage, and your solar and kinetic weapons scorch targets. For the abilities, we are going to be taking the Empowering Rift. The Empowering Rift just got buffed, so now it actually has a bigger radius, and when you're standing in the Empowering Rift, it increases weapon damage and ability regeneration for those that are inside. For the melee, we're going to be taking the Arcane Needle. The reason you guys want the Arcane Needle is that you actually get 3 charges altogether, which is very strong. With the grenade, you really can change it to whatever you want. If you need more survivability, take the Healing Grenade. It's not that big a deal with the grenade for this build. For the aspects, of course, you guys want to take Feed the Void. Defeat a target with any ability to activate Devour. Once you have Devour, every time you get a kill, you're going to restore additional health and grenade energy. Then for the next aspect, you're going to want to take the Lightning Surge. While sliding, activate your charged melee ability to blink forward, calling down lightning strikes that jolt targets as you rematerialize. Targets that are hit by your lightning strikes grant you stacks of bolt charge. Now for our fragments, we are taking Facet of Balance. Rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants melee energy, and rapidly defeating targets with darkness damage grants grenade energy. Now you mainly want to use the Lightning Surge for your melee ability, and that is the light ability that is going to increase that melee regeneration speed. Then you're going to want to take Facet of Purpose. Picking up an Orb of Power is going to grant us Restoration. With Restoration, we will regenerate health and shields over time, and it cannot be interrupted by taking damage. So if we create an orb right here, we will pick it up, and boom, we have Restoration for 5 seconds, and it will refresh every single time we pick up an orb. So Facet of Purpose is going to help keep us alive. Then we have Facet of Protection. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. While Transcendent, the effect is increased, and this gives us a +10 to our melee stat. This is really good because when we use our Lightning Surge, we are going to be sliding into groups of enemies, and when we are surrounded, you will see the buff in the bottom left called Facet of Protection. Then we have Facet of Courage. Our Arc, Solar, and Void abilities deal increased damage to targets afflicted with darkness debuffs, and this will give us a +10 to our grenade. So with the gameplay loop of this, what you're going to want to do is actually every engagement, you're going to want to throw out 1 Arcane Needle. And then as you can see, now they're debuffed with the darkness, and then you slide into them, and that Lightning Surge will do more damage because they are debuffed with the Strand Unravel. And then of course we have Facet of Dawn. Powered melee hits against targets make you radiant. Powered melee final blows make you and your nearby allies radiant. With Radiant, our weapons are enhanced by the power of the Traveler, and we will deal increased damage to combatants. And while we're Radiant, our weapons will actually pierce the shields of anti-barrier champions to stun them. Now for the armor mods, I have 1 Solar Harmonic Siphon to create an orb with my SMG every time I get a final blow, and I have 2 hands-on mods on the helmet, gain bonus super energy on melee kills. And of course, we're going to be getting a lot of melee kills, so this will help us get our super really fast. On the gauntlets, I have 3 heavy-handed mods. Your powered melee final blows create orbs of power. Now, normally, if you just have a 1 heavy-handed mod on, there's going to be a cooldown every time you create an orb. So if you kill this guy with a melee and immediately kill that guy, you will not get an orb. But if you watch this, boom, there's an orb. Boom, there's another orb. Boom, there's another orb. There basically is no cooldown if you have 3 of these mods equipped. Then on the chest piece, we have some resistance mods, and I have a Lucent Blade mod, increases the energy recharge rate of your equipped swords. On the boots, we have an Invigoration mod to reduce our melee cooldown when we pick up an orb. Recuperation replenishes health each time we pick up an orb, and Insulation reduces class ability cooldown every time we pick up an orb. On the class item, we have an Outreach mod, reduces melee cooldown when we use our class ability. And then I have a Reaper mod, so every time we pop our class ability, our next weapon final blow will spawn an Orb of Power. And if we take a look at the artifact, I've got Singularity Blade. While you have a Void Elemental buff, aka our Devour buff, melee and sword hits weaken targets, while melee and sword final blows create a weakening burst. So if we get a melee kill right here, we've got Devour. Let's get a sword kill. As you can see, there's a little purple explosion. Let's get these guys close together. Purple explosion. Now this guy is weakened. I also have power from Pain. Rapid final blows against weakened combatants grant Devour, just to keep that Devour up even more. We have expert handling. Weapon final blows grant a stacking bonus to stability, which resets on weapon reload or stow, and swords gain guard resistance. And elemental siphon. Rapid final blows with a kinetic weapon or a weapon matching your equipped super create an elemental pickup that matches your equipped super. So if we get some rapid final blows here, I'll throw my lightsaber right here. As you can see, we created a fire sprite down here because of the rapid final blows and that artifact mod. And Guardians, that is pretty much going to do it for the build. I hope you guys found this helpful, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and drop a like on this video. Like I said in the beginning, there will be a dim link down in the description if you guys want to try this out. And with all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video.